talking about the type conversion and what will happen if you perform the type conversion from a data type which is having a larger size, and you're trying to store that data type, uh, yeah, and you're trying to store that value to a data type which is having lower value. Like we studied that we will lose some data. We will be losing some data. Why we are losing the data means because of truncation and all. Like if I'll just mute. Mm, So why it is happening? Because like if I try to fit a floating point value to a integer value, so the floating point is getting truncated. So today also we'll learn few examples. So see, if you look at this program, you will feel that the program is fine and there are no issues in the program. So see, Karthik and Meghana, from next time onwards, be early to the class. See, See, this is a classic example where by looking at this program, you will feel that there is no error in this program. But when you run this program, um, so you will feel some issues will be there. Some issues will be there. So what is that issue means? What is that issue means? See, first thing is here it is following the automatic type promotion. So here I'm declaring a variable. Here I'm declaring a variable with byte A given by 40, byte B given by 50. So the value of A is 40 now, and the value of B is 50. So after this, I'm multiplying this. We'll concentrate on this expression. Here D is integer. So you just don't worry about the right hand side. You just don't worry about the right hand side. Um, so you just focus here. So you don't worry about this data type and the variable name. So first is A star B. So A is also byte, B is also byte. So when I multiply 40 into 50, the result will be 5 4s are 20, followed by two zeros. The result will be 2000. So you know that the result 2000 is coming out of the byte range. So the byte range is from minus 127 to 128. But here we are talking about the value 2000. So this 2000 value, it is outside the byte range. So um, because of which what Java will do now. So Java, when it is evaluating the expression, when Java is evaluating the expression, it will convert byte short into integer. So what this Java will do means, uh, even though even though this even though these are valid means, because when it is evaluating the expression, the value of A and B will be evaluated to a value which is higher or which is outside the byte range. So what Java will do means, whenever you are evaluating an expression, the byte short and character data type will be typecasted to integer data type. So now this 2000 will be, so since what it will do means, this will convert this A and B to the integer data type. So the value 2000 will be within the range of integer. And one more place where this can repeat means, byte B is equal to 50. So even though here the conversion is not needed, even though if I try to write B star 2, even though byte is 50, 50 into 2 will be 100, which will be within the range of byte. but also but also since it is evaluating the expression, it will convert this expression to integer. Here also it will convert this B to integer, because you know that whenever an expression is being evaluated in Java, the byte short and character will be converted to integer. So if you want this to be in byte only means, then you have to write like this: byte B is equal to 50. So you want the result to be in byte means, you have to perform implicit conversion byte of what I want B star 2. So now the B star 2, earlier the result would have been in integer, but now the result will remain in byte only. You are performing the conversion, you are performing the type conversion. So this is a, so one rule to remember is when, what are the type promotion rules in Java means byte short character will be converted to integer or it will be promoted to integer. If an expression so if in an expression if there if there is one operand, if there is one operand with long data type, the other like if there is one operator with long data type, all other operands will be evaluated, all other operands will be promoted to long. For example, for example, there is an expression a plus b plus c. Here a and b belongs to integer, whereas c belongs to long. So what happens here? If in an expression, if even any one operand is long, the complete expression will be converted to, or it will be promoted to long. So in our case, a and b belongs to integer, a and b belongs to integer, and c belongs to long. Since we have long in this expression a plus b plus c, even a and b will also be converted to long. And the same thing holds good. So if any one operand is float, the entire expression will be promoted to float. If any one operand is double, the entire expression will be converted to, or it will be promoted, instead of converting it will be promoted to double. So this is how the type conversion works. So one expression is one operand is long, all other parameters will be converted to, or it will be promoted to long. One operand is double, all other operands will be promoted to double. One expression is sorry, one operand is float, all other operands will be converted to float. So this is how the type promotion works in Java. Any doubts? Any doubts regarding the type promotion? Any doubt with respect to this example? Any doubt with respect to the example? Any doubts here? So the next thing, um, this is regarding the type promotions. So just remember one point: when evaluating an expression, the byte and short and character will be converted to integer. And so in an expression, if we have an operand with long, that entire expression will be converted to long. If we have an expression where one operand, at least one operand is float, the entire expression will be converted to float. The same thing with double also. The same thing with double also. So this you can check. So these are the type promotion rules. These are the type promotion rules. So now the rules which I have put it up in the slides. So what is next? So here, here why you will get an error, because when evaluating the expression, so this b will be converted to integer. So b into 2, 50 into 2 will be 100. So that 100 will be of integer type. So that integer you are trying to assign it to b. So 100 is of integer type, but that integer type you are trying to assigning to the byte. So that's why you will get an error. So for that, why? Because right side would have been converted to integer. Left side b is of type byte. So it is like assigning byte equal to int. So you are trying to assign integer to byte. So that is not possible. So what you will do, will perform the conversion. So you are converting this integer to the byte, and then you will assign it to the left hand side variable. So that is being done in this line. So then the next is the type conversion or the type promotion rules. Byte short character is
Sorry,
promoted.
sir.
Yes.
So repeat that point, sir, again.
Okay. See, this point is there. No. See here, b star 2 means what is the value of b? 50. 50 into 2 will be 100. But that 100 will be stored as integer. That 100 will be stored as integer, because when you are evaluating the expression, the byte will be converted to integer type. So that b will be converted to integer type. So 50 into 2 will be 100. So that 100 will be stored as integer. So that 100 will be stored as integer. So the right hand side, the result is in integer format. On the left hand side, it is being assigned to B. But what is the data type of B? B is in byte. So you are trying to assign an integer type to the byte. So that is not possible. That is not possible. You will get an error. So for that, if you want to overcome that error, means you have to convert this integer type to the byte type. So that you are performing by the type conversion. You are converting this integer to byte and then you are storing it. So this is how you are um, performing the implicit type conversion. So the next part is arrays. So what do you mean by an array? You know that array, it's a collection of elements that are of same type. Elements, the collection of elements, the elements are of same type. So the same thing in Java also. Java also, it's a group of like typed variables that are referred by the common name. So array can be of any type. So array can be of the 8 data types. Array can have one or more dimensions. In Java also you have single dimension array, multi-dimension array. But how to create the array, how to use the array, so that is bit different in Java. So one thing is, the definition of array means array is a collection of elements, all the elements are of same data type. So Java, all the elements of the array is referred by a common name. So elements can be of like array can be of one or more dimensions. So we can have single dimension array, we can have multiple dimension array. So usually we'll study about one dimension array and two dimension array. So how to declare the array in Java means, how to declare means data type, then array name, array name, then the size subscript. So this is how you can declare uh, an array in Java. So for example, the variable name is month underscore day. So month underscore day is an array of type integer, and its size is not being allocated. So once I write like this, what it will do means, mm, it will declare it will declare an array where the name of the array is month underscore days and the type of the array is integer. So this is the syntax. So this is the syntax which will tell you that, this is how the syntax for declaring an array. So although although you are declaring an array, so once you write this line, you are just declaring an array, but you are not allocating memory for that. So what this is doing means, it is just telling that there is an array given by the name month underscore days, which is having the data type integer. So but actually you have not allocated memory for that. It doesn't have any memory for that. So the the value for this month underscore day will be set to null, which means array without any values. The array doesn't contain any value. So in order to allocate values, what you should do means, you should use an operator called new. So what is this new operator means? It's an operator which will allocate memory in Java. It will allocate memory in Java. So this this int month underscore days will just declare an array by the name and its type. It doesn't have any memory. If you want to allocate memory to this array, you should perform that by using the operator called new operator. So what is the syntax means? Array name is equal to new variable data type, then the size, the number of elements in the array. So number of elements in the array. So now what it will do means, example can be like, what is my array name? My array name is month underscore days. Month underscore days is equal to new operator. What is my data type? Integer. And what is the size? Size can be 10. So if I write like this, what this line will do means it will allocate a 10 element array. It will allocate a 10 element array of type integers, and it will be linked to month underscore days. So what this will do means it will allocate a 10 elements of type integer, and it will link them to month underscore days. So it is like you are referring to an array of 10 integers, an array of 10 integers, and all the elements will be initialized to 0. All the elements will be initialized to 0. So this is how the array declaration is in Java. So array declaration in Java, it is a two-step process. The first step is to declare the array. First step is to declare the array. The example can be integer a, something like this. The second step is to allocate memory. The second step is to allocate memory. How do you allocate memory? A is equal to new operator. What is the data type? Then what is the size? So this is how you can allocate memory to an array variable. So you can write like this. You can write it in two separate lines, or even you can write it in a single line also. When you can write it in a single line also. Mm, so this is the process that is being followed in um, Java to allocate or to declare an array. So all the elements will be initialized to 0 by default, and all the elements are dynamically allocated. So once you allocate an array, once you declare an array, you can access the array by its subscript, and all the elements or subscript, or we will call it as index. You can access the elements of an array by index, and the index will start with 0. Index will start with 0 to the number of elements minus 1. um, so these are the few things. And one more thing is, if the size of the array, see here the index starts from 0 to 9. So if you try to access the 10th position, 11th position, 12th position, you will get an error. If you try to access -1 index, -2 index, -3 index, you will get an error. So that point you should just keep in mind. I told you that you can declare it in two separate lines, or even you can write it in a single line like is equal to new integer 10. So this is how the array is being declared in Java. So any doubts here? Any doubts with respect to the array declaration? First declare the array, then give the memory for that array. How to access the array? You can access the array by using index method. The same thing, the array index and all is same. So there is nothing new in that. So you can check that. You can check that declaring the array, declaring the array, declaring the array, then declaring the array. Then what I am doing, the second step is allocating memory for the array. After that, I can give value to the arrays by accessing their index position. So for the 0th index, I'm storing 31. So number of days in January. For first index, I'm storing number of days in February. Like that from 0. So here we have declared 12 elements. So like it can be like 12 months in a year. So for January is having 31 days, 28 days, then 31, 30. So these are the number of days in a month. So January is being stored in month underscore day of 0. 1 contains February, 2 contains March, 3 contains April, 4 contains April, May, 5 contains June, like that. So you can allocate the value. You can allocate the value to the array. How you can allocate the value means by using index. For example, I want to store the first element with the value 10 means I can write it as first element is available with the subscript 0. I can allocate 99. So the first element a of 0 will contain 99. So if I want to for the last element, if the last element can be accessed by a of 9, for that I can give the value 100. So how to access the elements of an array means by using the index. So the same way you can initialize the value. So here they are initializing the values by using the index 0 to 9, and they are giving the values that are there in the month. And also you can see that, mm, here in the last line, I'm trying to print month underscore days of 3. Month underscore days of 3 means this one. So you will get the output as 30 days. So when I execute this, April as, what is the value stored in month underscore days of 3? 30. I'll get the output as 30 days. So one thing is, here you can allocate the values, or you can initialize the value for the array separately, or you can you can allocate the value, or you can initialize the value for the array when declaring itself. You can allocate that. See here, 0 will contain 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So like this. So you can declare it in separate line like this, or I mean, you can initialize the value in separate lines like this, or you can initialize it during the declaration itself. So it is left to you. It is the option given to you. You want to give the value to the array during the declaration itself, you just give it. No, you don't want to give it. You don't want to give the value during the declaration, but you want to give it after some time, means that is also fine. So if you try to access any elements which is outside the array, you will get an error. So any doubt here? Any doubt? Any doubt? Yes or no? Whether you understood this concept, array elements? Yes or no? How to declare the array? How to access the elements of the array? How to give values to the array? So that is what you have studied. And also one more thing, in order to read the array, in order to print the array, you can use for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, like that. You can use that. So reading and thing, the same thing. Instead of scanf, you have to use the equivalent statements in Java. So that is what it can be done. So any doubts here? Any doubts with respect to the array, single dimension array? So if you people don't have any doubt, means I'll proceed with. See, this is also one more example. So one more example of the array where I'm initializing with the number of, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So after that using the for loop, I'm adding all these things. First time it will add number of 0. First time it will be like 10.1 will be stored. Result will be zeros. First it will be 10.1. For this 10.1, then I will add 11.2. For the result of these two, I will add 12.3. For the result of these three, I will add 13.4. And for the result of these four, I'll add 14.5. So what this is doing means, it is for this line is calculating the result. This line is calculating the result means it is adding all the elements of the array by using the subscript, because I is going from 0 to 4. So it is reading the value of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is storing it in the result. So after that, it is finding the average. Average means number of elements divided by uh, the sum of those elements divided by number of elements. So the result is available, which contains the sum of these elements, and the total number of elements is 5. So you'll get the average. So sum of this value divided by 5, you will get the average. So now we'll talk about the two-dimension array. So the two-dimension array declaration. So the two-dimension array declaration is like uh, data type, data type, data type, then uh, array name, data type, array name, then the subscript, and after that you can follow the two things, the same thing. Array name, then array name, array name is equal to new data type, then size of rows and size of columns. You can write like this. You can write like this. Um, See, even here also, even for two dimension also, first you can declare the array, then you can create memory for that, or you can combine these two and you can write it in single line itself. Data type, array name, then is equal to new operator, data type, and the size of the row, size of the column. So here what it is doing means, it is creating a two-dimension array. It is creating a two-dimension array by the name two dimension, array by the name two dimension. How many elements it contains? It contains 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 columns. So here it is like the first element you can access by 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. The same way 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. 2 0 2 1 2 2 2 3 2 4, then 3 0 3 1 3 2 3 3 3 4. The subscript accessing. So here you are using, if you want to access here, if you want to access the element means you can access by the index position of row and index position of column. For example, if I want to access this element, if I want to access this element 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, eighth element in this table means I can access by the index of first row index with 1 and column index with 2. So how it is storing means it is storing in the form of rows and columns. This line, what it is telling me means it is declaring a two-dimension array which contains 4 rows and 5 columns. The number of rows is 4 and the number of columns is 5. So I want to access first row. I want to access first row means the first row will start with index 0. First row, first column 0 0. First row, second column 0 1. First row, third column 0 2. Like this, you can access the elements. So you can access the elements by their index 0 0, 0 1, 0 2, 0 3, 0 4. The first row accessing is done. I want to access second row. 1 0 1 1 1 2 1 3 1 4. Like this you can access. So the accessing is here, only one thing is for you are adding extra dimension, you are adding the column dimension for the same thing. For the same example, you're just adding the column dimension. So that is what, so this is the reading, so this is the reading. So you're reading the elements, so you're reading the elements. So it contains 4 rows, it contains 4 rows and 5 columns. It contains 4 rows and 5 columns. um, 0 1 2 3. uh, so actually it should be like 1 second. So what this program will do means, so what this program will do means it contains 4 rows, it contains 4 rows of data, 0 1 2. So this is 0 1 2 3. So I mean this is row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, and 5 columns. This is column 0 1 2 3 4. So the first element 0 is there at the position 0 0. The second element is at the position 0 1. So here I'm just declaring an array which contains 4 rows and 5 columns, which contains 4 rows and 5 columns, and I'm just giving the value of k. I'm just giving the value of k. Initially value of k is 0, meaning I'm just storing from 0 to 19. I'm just storing from 0 to 19, and then I'm just printing the element. So this is like how do you read the array and how do you print the array. So in order to read the two-dimensional array, you need two for loops, one for row indices and other one for the column indices. In order to print the array also the same thing, you need two indices, two for loops. One for loop will take care of the row indices and other for loop will take care of the column indices. So this is the memory allocation. So this is the memory allocation. So here you can check, here you can check, we have 4 rows, each row contains 5 columns. So 0 0 0 1, the index which I told now, the index which I told, the same thing. And also, and also some variations is there, some variations is there. So instead of writing, so how we learned here, so we were declaring like this, no, two dimension of 5 5 is equal to, so uh, we were declaring like this, 2d of is equal to some new integer of 4 comma or 4 5. So instead of this, even you can split this also. You don't want to write like this, so you don't want to give the size of the column, you don't want to give the size of the column. So that part of time you don't specify the size, you don't specify the size. Whenever you're accessing the row, that time you need to specify the size. 2d of 0, 2d of 0 means what is the size of my first row. For the size of my first row, I want 5 columns. For my first row, I want 5 columns. For the next row, I want 3 columns. And for my third row, I want 7 columns. And also for my last row, I want I want 8 columns. So this kind of declaration is useful. So this kind of declaration is useful when the number of columns is different. When the number of columns is different in each row, the number of columns is different. So at that point of time, even you can go with this kind of declaration also. So um, one thing is here, the number of elements is not fixed, so that you can check. So here, see here, the same declaration, what I'm doing means, here row 0 contains one element, row 1 contains two elements, row 2 contains three elements, row 4 contains four elements, like that. So here, even though the number of elements for each row, means the number of column elements for each row is varying up, so this kind of declaration is also possible. And regarding this example also, the same thing, the same example is being modified. So here here I was declaring an element which contains four rows and five columns, but here in this example, I'm just declaring the number of rows that is required in the beginning. After that, I'm modifying the column requirement. So one column in the first row, two columns in the second row, three columns in the third row, and four columns in the fourth row. So that's why zero is being stored in the first row, two elements are there in the second row, three elements are there in the third row, and four elements are there in the last row. So this is some modifications of the for loop. So after this, what to learn? So next thing is, uh, see, this is okay, this is also important. So some alternative syntax declaration. So see, alternative syntax declaration means the equivalent, so there is no difference. So instead of writing, so if you write like this, that is same as writing like this. So even if you exchange the place of bracket also, it is treated as an array only. So here you can check, here I'm writing it as a1 of some square bracket is there. Here first the variable name is there, after that the square bracket is there. So this is also array. In the second one, first the square bracket is there, then the variable name is there. So this is also same. Here also you can check, here also variable name brackets equivalent. So these two statements are equal, these two statements are equal. Brackets, variable name, so this is equal. So what if you write like this, what if you write like this, integer brackets number means it is equivalent to writing like this. So if you write like this, integer number square bracket comma number 2 square bracket comma number 3 square bracket, so that is same as writing like this only. So what is that means, in the alternative way in which you can declare an array, and all these things are equal. So that is what is being said. So you can declare the arrays in this way also. So the next part is the operators, arithmetic operators. So what is arithmetic operators means, it is used to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. All these things will come under arithmetic operators, and the image which I pasted will give you will give you the arithmetic operators in Java. So and one more thing is, like, see, the arithmetic operations can be applied on the numeric type only. You cannot use the arithmetic operations on boolean type. For example, you cannot add true plus true, true plus false, like that. So you can use the arithmetic operators on numeric type, and you can use it on character type. So remember this point, arithmetic operators are used to perform arithmetic operations. You can use them on numeric type, you can use them on character type, but you cannot use them on boolean type. So this is the points regarding the arithmetic operations. So this is a Java program to perform the arithmetic operation. So what it is doing? So here I'm performing the addition of numbers, multiplication of a number, division of a number, subtraction of a number, and I'm just reversing the sign of a number. So the same operations, instead of integers, here I'm using double. The same thing. Only thing is you're writing the program in Java. So the data type and all is same. So within the main class, you're declaring the data types as per the Java syntax. You're writing the printf statements or the output statements as per the Java syntax. Other than that, the logic and all remains same. Multiplication of a number, division of a number, addition of a number, subtraction of a number, all these things will come under arithmetic operations. So increment and decrement. What is increment and decrement? So the same thing. Increment means increasing the value of a number by one. Decrement means decrementing means subtracting the value of a number by one. So here also we have two statements: pre-increment, post-increment, pre-decrement, post-decrement. So what this operators will do means it will just increase the value of a number by 1 if it is increment, and it will decrease the value of a number by 1 if it is decrement operations. After that, bitwise. So bitwise, this bitwise operations can be applied to integer types, long type, then byte type. These are the places, these are the data types to which this bitwise operations can be applied, like integer, long, short, character, and byte. So what are the bitwise operators? Means bitwise, you would have studied about bitwise and or exclusive or bitwise unary not. So what these things will do means, what this will do means, so for example, bitwise and means when both the operators are 1, then only the output will be 1. In other cases, the output will be 0. The AND gate, the simple example can be AND gate. Bitwise or what it will do means, when both the inputs are 0, then only the output will be 0. In other cases, it will be 1. And this exclusive or what this exclusive or will do means, when both the inputs are same, the output will be 0. When both the inputs are different, the output will be 1. And you have studied about this complement, the complement or negation, which we will call it as, or unary not. What it will do means, if you are giving the value as 1, the output will be 0. If you are giving the value as 0, the output will be 1, like that. So this will perform the bitwise operations. Now this will perform the bitwise operations, like for an operand, the operations will be done on the individual bits. For example, if the number is 42, if the number is 42, here you can check, if the number is 42, this number 42 will be converted into binary form, and for each bit, so this is one number. You take it as a is equal to 42. 42 will be converted to some binary format 00101010, and we have a number called b, which is uh, b. I will take it as 12. I will take it as 12 for the easy representation. So 00008400. So now this is the number a, this is the number b. So a and b will be converted to binary, their binary formats, and then these operations will be performed. So like, what will be the output of if you perform 0 bitwise and 0, 1 bitwise and 0? So like that, bitwise it is computing the result. So this is the implementation of bitwise operators. So here also we have left shift. What left shift will do means, it will shift all the bits in a value to the left side the specified number of times. How means, for example, if I write, so what this will do means, it will shift all the bits in a value means number to the left specified number of times. So for example, 32 32 like this means, so here the number 32 will be represented in binary format. What is the binary format? 84621 16 32 64. So 0 1 0 128. Okay, 0010. Okay, so now what it will do means, the 32 will be shifted to the left side by 2 bits. So it will be shifted 2 times. So all the bits of 32. So shift all of the bits in a value to the left a specified number of times. So I want to shift all the bits of value 32 to the left hand side. How many number of times? 2 times. So for your understanding, I'll just shift this values to the left hand side. So like this. So this 0 will be moved like this 0 will come here, 1 will come here, it will so and the last here it will here you will be adding 0, here you will be adding 0 here you will be adding 0. So what it is doing means, so first on shifting one time you will get the output 0 1. So 0 1 0 0, then all these things will be 0. And when you're shifting one more time, so this 1 will come here, so 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 operations, like this. So what it is doing means the value, all the bits in that value will be shifted to the left side the specified number of times, and 0 will be added to the right hand side. So when you're shifting one time, so here this block, this 0 will be shifted to this side, no, so there will not be anything. So for that you will be adding 0. So again when you're shifting this to the one more time, so here also that last value will be missing, for that you are adding 0. So this is how this is how the left shift performs. So the left hand side, the higher bit will be lost, and for the right hand side you're adding 0, the left hand side value will be discarded. So the same way right shift means the in now all the bits in the value will be shifted to the right side, all the bits in the value will be shifted to the right side, and on the left hand side, you will be that on the left hand side the value will be empty, no, the first bit. So for that you are adding 0. So right shift means you're shifting all the bits in the value to the right, which is given by the specified number of times. So the same example. So so in the previous example I was moving this 30 to the left hand side. No, if I perform the right shift, I'll be moving 32 to the right hand side, all the bits will be moved to the right hand side, and this bit which is empty will be added with 0 like that. So um, this is how the right shift works. This is how the right shift works. This is the second this is the right shift operator um, in Java. This is the right shift operator in Java. I think I'll stop the class now. I will stop the class, it's already time. So any doubts,